What if I told you there are neighborhoods in Ottawa, inside the city, close to downtown, where you can still buy a home for under 600,000? Not in the middle of nowhere, not an hour away, inside Ottawa. And many buyers have no idea these places exist, or they've written them off based on a reputation that is 5, 10, or 15 years out of date. So today I'm going to show you 5 of them. And by the end of this video, I guarantee at least one of these is going to change the way you think about where you can afford to buy in this city. I'm Curtis Sernoskie, and I'm a realtor here in Ottawa with LePage Team Realty. And I talk to buyers every single week who are frustrated. They've been pre-approved, they know what they want, and they keep getting priced out of Kanata, Barrhaven, Westboro, the Glebe, you name it. And somewhere along the way, they've convinced themselves that the only affordable options are an hour outside of the city. But that's not true. I think part of the reason buyers overlook these 5 neighborhoods is that they've heard things. Maybe a story from years ago, maybe a comment from a parent or a friend who hasn't actually been to this area recently. And I get it. Some of these communities, they've had rough patches. But Ottawa is changing fast, and these neighborhoods are changing with it. So here's what I want you to do. For the next several minutes, put the assumptions aside. I'm going to give you the real picture, the good, the honest realities, and why smart buyers are paying attention right now. I'm going to cover 5 neighborhoods, what you can actually buy, what the vibe is like, and at the end, I'm going to tell you which one I think is the single best value buy in Ottawa right now. So stay with me. All right, number 1. I'm starting here on purpose, and it's Vanier. Now, I already know what some of you just thought. I saw it on your face through the screen. You heard Vanier, and something in your brain said, isn't that the sketchy one? And here's what I want to say to that. You're thinking about a Vanier that no longer exists. Vanier has been quietly transforming for a better part of a decade. New restaurants, new coffee shops, significant city investment, young creatives and professionals moving in who want to be close to the core. And the change has been real, and it's been happening fast, which is exactly why buyers who get in now are the ones who benefit the most. The average sold price across all home types in Vanier this year is sitting around $530,000. That's not a typo. In a city where the average home costs closer to $700,000, Vanier is priced at close to $200,000 discount to the city average. And you're 10 minutes from Parliament Hill. 10 minutes. Think about that for a second. What can you buy? 1950s and 60s detached homes, townhomes, and a growing number of condos. Vanier has a strong francophone heritage and a generally diverse, tight-knit community feel. This is a neighborhood with a real identity, and it's not a placeholder until you can afford somewhere else. For the right buyer, Vanier can be the move. Now here's the thing about number 2. It's right next door to Vanier, but most people don't even know it exists as its own neighborhood. And the opportunity here is genuinely different. So let me show you. Number 2 is Overbrook. Overbrook sits right beside Vanier, sandwiched between the Rideau River and Saint Laurent Boulevard, and it's one of those neighborhoods that's almost impossible to explain to someone who hasn't walked in it. On paper, it doesn't look special. In person, it feels like a neighborhood on the edge of something. But Overbrook is quieter than Vanier, it's more residential, more established, and less transient. The streets are calm, there are families here, and the housing stock is similar. Older bungalows, semis, some infill development are starting to pop up. Prices do run a bit higher than Vanier, but you're still well below the city average, at an average selling price this year of $597,000. And what makes Overbrook interesting from a real estate perspective is its location relative to the LRT. The Saint Laurent station puts you on the O train and into downtown within minutes. And that kind of transit access in this price range is few and far between anywhere else in the city. And as Ottawa continues to build out its LRT network, proximity to these stations will help drive price appreciation up. That's not a theory. That's what the data shows. The Rideau River runs along the western edge, and the trail network there is legitimately beautiful. And we're talking cycling, walking paths that connect you to the entire city. I've taken buyers to Overbrook and they say, wow, I had no idea this was here. And that's the opportunity. What people don't know about keeps the prices lower. So, okay, number 3 is where things get really interesting, because this next neighborhood is the one I think most buyers in Ottawa have completely and unfairly written off. And the story here is one of the most compelling value plays in the whole city, so stick around. Number 3 is Carlington. I think this is generally one of the most misunderstood communities in the entire city of Ottawa. It sits in the central west, bordered by Maribel Road, Carling Avenue, and Fisher Avenue. And it has this reputation for being, I don't know, forgettable, unremarkable, just kind of there. And that reputation is what creates the opportunity. Here's what Carlington actually is. It's a post-war neighborhood built in the 1940s and 50s with many homes on decent-sized lots. The average pricing this year comes in below $650,000, still cheaper than the city's average. And these are well-built homes. They're not flashy, they don't necessarily have open concept kitchens or quartz countertops out of the box, but the bones are excellent, the lots are generous, and they're in a location that is genuinely central to the entire city. You're 15 minutes to downtown, you're close to the Civic Hospital campus, which matters for healthcare workers and which matters for long-term neighborhood stability. You're close to Algonquin College. Westgate Shopping Center is also a short drive away. The whole west side of the city is accessible from here, and this is not a fringe location. From an investment standpoint, Clarington checks a lot of boxes. Affordable entry price, central location, older housing stock that's ripe for renovating, and value adds. The surrounding areas, Hintonburg, Wellington West, and even Centertown have already evolved significantly. Carlington is next in line for the wave of investors who understand this dynamic and are already quietly buying there. Carlington also has Carlington Park, a generally great community green space, and an active community center. This isn't a neighborhood without amenities. It's a neighborhood without a great marketing team. Prices just haven't caught up yet. Number 4 is interesting because it's actually 2 communities that have grown so close together, they almost function as one. And together, they're probably the most family-friendly, affordable option on this entire list. I'll explain what I mean. Number 4 is South Keys and Greenboro. These 2 communities sit right beside each other in Ottawa's south end, and I'm grouping them together because the buyers in this price range are almost always looking at both simultaneously. They're genuinely family-friendly communities, good schools, lots of green space, safe and walkable streets, and they've become significantly more valuable as the O train has expanded. The South Keys O train station is a game changer for this area. You can be downtown in about 20 minutes without touching a car. And for buyers thinking about their commute, this is massive. You get the affordability of the South End with the connectivity of a much more expensive neighborhood. The combination is rare. Housing-wise, you're looking at a mix of townhomes, semis, and detached homes. A lot of these homes were built in the late 80s and 90s, and you're getting more space and more modern layouts compared to the post-war stock in Vanier or Carlington. Families also consistently tell me South Keys and Greenboro feel safe, they're accessible, and they're livable. One thing I want to flag, because I want to be honest with you, South Keys has some areas that are more in transition than others. So parts of the neighborhood are very established and clean, while other pockets are still working through some changes. So when you're buying here, the specific street and block matter. Walking the neighborhood before you make an offer can be a good idea, and this is where having a good agent pays for itself. All right, number 5. This is the one I've been most excited to talk about because Brittania is, in my opinion, one of the most genuinely unique and special neighborhoods on this list, and the fact that it's still as affordable as it is generally surprises me every time I pull up the numbers, and here's why. So let's set the scene for you. Imagine you're driving west on Brittania Road towards the Ottawa River. The houses are getting greener, the streets are getting quieter, and then you arrive at Brittania Beach, a literal sandy beach on the Ottawa River with a yacht club, a surf shop, parks, trails that stretch kilometers in both directions. And this exists in Ottawa, and you can buy a home within walking distance of it for around $550,000 to $600,000. Brittania is one of those places that feels like it should cost more than it does. The natural setting is legitimately stunning. The Ottawa River, the beach, the Brittania Conservation Area, it's a full outdoor lifestyle right inside the city. Yet the prices haven't caught up to what you'd expect for that kind of environment. And that gap is the opportunity. The housing stock is diverse, with bungalows from the 50s and 60s with big lots, and an increasing number of renovated homes as buyers who discovered Brittania early have been putting work into their properties. The neighborhood is evolving, and the people who moved over the past decade have seen meaningful equity gains already. And location-wise, you're about 20 minutes from downtown on the Queensway, which is very manageable. You're close to Bell's Corners for everyday errands, and the NCC trail system along the river connects you to the entire west end of the city by bike or on foot. And if you value outdoor lifestyle, Brittania delivers on value given the proximity to the river. The honest reality, Brittania is not a polished neighborhood. It has a mix of housing quality on the same street, a renovated gem next to a home that needs work. It doesn't have a trendy main street or a walkable retail corridor. What it has is the river, the beach, the trails, the community, and a price point that feels genuinely mispriced relative to what you get. And for buyers who prioritize lifestyle over brunch spots, Brittania is a hidden gem. All right, let's bring it home. We got 5 neighborhoods all inside Ottawa, all significantly more affordable than what most buyers are chasing. We got Vanier, closest to downtown, lowest average price, biggest upside. If you want to be in this neighborhood before it fully turns, the clock's ticking. In Overbrook, we have quieter LRT access, river trails, underpriced for its location. Carlington, Central West, solidly built homes, the next wave of appreciation is coming. South Keys and Greenboro, family-friendly, great transit, good schools, buy the right block. And Brittania, Ottawa River lifestyle, big lots, and prices that generally don't match what you get. And I promised you at the start of this video that I'd tell you which one I think is the single best value to buy in Ottawa right now. And here it is, Carlington. And here's my reasoning. Vanier gets more attention, prices there are already starting to move. Brittania is beautiful, but it's niche. South Keys needs careful navigation, but Carlington sits in the Central West. It's close to major employment anchors like the Civic Hospital. It's surrounded by neighborhoods that have already been gentrified, and it hasn't moved yet. The lots are real, and the wave of appreciation that hit Hintonburg, Wellington West, and Westboro is going to reach Carlington. It always does. And buyers who get there before it does are the ones who build the real equity. That's my call. You might disagree. And honestly, any of these 5 could be your next move if it makes sense. The right neighborhood for you is going to depend on your situation, your commute, your family, and what you actually want out of your home. But I hope this video at least opens up the conversation about what's possible inside Ottawa without writing off half the city. And if you want to talk through any of these areas in more detail, or if you want my honest assessment of whether one of them makes sense for your specific situation, just reach out. DM me, leave a comment below, or click the link in the description to book a free call. No pressure, no pitch, just a real conversation. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.